Is Etsy a good marketplace to sell your custom t-shirts or t-shirt transfers? What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Alex. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty hot question for all of you entrepreneurs out there. So stay tuned as this information could make or break your business. All right, first things first, finding a niche on Etsy is not going to be easy, but it will be imperative to your success. Everybody seems to be on Etsy nowadays. Etsy is the marketplace for small businesses, handmade goods, that kind of a thing. So people who are just getting started are probably thinking of Etsy as their go-to place. Because of that, Etsy has reached a high level of saturation on the platform with users on pretty average competitive products. So t-shirts being a fairly good example of a commodity are very competitive on Etsy. So making sure that you find a niche to compete in on Etsy within t-shirts, t-shirt transfers, for example, whatever it is going to be imperative to your success. With literally over 1,000 different shops selling t-shirts, t-shirt transfers on Etsy, it can feel like you are a little fish in a giant ocean. And if you can't find your niche, your products might never make their way in front of your audience's eyes. And with that, everybody on Etsy basically fighting for those same eyeballs, the competition is going to be steep. Basically, everybody and their cousin is selling on Etsy, so all of those people, they're going to be your competitors, and it's going to be important to find a way to differentiate yourself between those. And the worst part about it all is most of these businesses on there are going to be offering like rock bottom of the barrel pricing, and it's going to be hard to compete with. Not only that, but with that rock bottom of the barrel pricing, it's going to attract customers that are looking for that bottom of the barrel pricing and don't want to pay for anything else more than that. Those type of customers, speaking from experience, are not the ones that you want long-term in your business. They're not the ones that you want to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. They're just overall customers and audiences that you want to try and avoid at all costs. Now, let's kind of use that as a way to start talking about the buyers. Buyers on Etsy, they have a lot of power, to say the least. There's not only the Etsy case system, but there's also the Etsy review system. And there are certain buyers on Etsy where they know that there is this power dynamic at play between the sellers and the buyers that they can leverage to get effectively whatever they want, effectively for free. Many buyers on Etsy expect Amazon level service and speed. But the thing is, on Etsy, these are typically like items made by small businesses, handmade items at that, and that's going to be a tough bar to reach. These buyers are the same ones that want that custom handmade items, but they want it at that next day delivery. And when they don't get it, they're not going to be happy, and they can express that dissatisfaction in a number of different ways that all benefit them, whether it be the review system, the case system, just messaging you, threatening either of those two things. Whatever it is, the buyers on Etsy hold a significant amount of power over you, and unfortunately, some of them do know that and use it to their advantage. So it's just going to be something you have to look out for and something that you have to be mindful of when thinking about if you want to use Etsy as a platform, as the main platform for your business. And then there's the fees. Etsy charges very high fees in relation to something like Shopify or Stripe. The fees on Etsy are really high, but you might be thinking, for charging such high fees, well, Etsy is probably going to be there to help you get those sales, right? That is a big fat depends, because if you are just one of the many fish in that crowded large ocean of other sellers, Etsy has other people that they are also trying to help out. So trying to figure out a way that they can help you and help out the person right next to you is not going to be easy, and that's something that Etsy has to try and walk the line on. I'll put up a little thing on the screen for the fee breakdown on Etsy. This is something that you're going to want to keep handy, but again, just something that at least I, from my experience, was expecting. They charge, I think it's upwards of 12% in fees if you are using the offsite ads program, which you are required to if you are large enough on Etsy. They automatically enroll you and you cannot opt out. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. But if you are not using offsite ads or you're not automatically enrolled in that, your fees are probably going to be hovering around like 6.5%. But again, I'll put up that table so you guys have all of the information nice and easily accessible. But yeah, it's just going to kind of come down to you to drive customers to your Etsy store, to market it. They do provide you a little bit of tools, but in terms of actually like marketing to your customers, I'll get into this a little bit later, but Etsy is really strict on that, and they really want you to only market using the platform and the tools that they give you. Now, another downside that I kind of just want to mention again is the control and power of the buyers. Buyers on Etsy can open a case for seemingly any reason and for a variety of different reasons. And the sellers are left to basically defend themselves and make their case to Etsy. But that is only in the cases where Etsy doesn't auto-close the case before the seller even has an opportunity to look at what the buyer opened a case for. Yes, that's right, guys. In the large majority of cases, Etsy will simply auto-close and issue a refund to the seller. Now, where that refund comes from can depend on a wide variety of different things. So Etsy has the buyer protection program, which they rolled out pretty recently, and that means that any order above any order below $250 is automatically covered, basically no matter what, by Etsy's buyer protection program. So that means that literally for any reason at all, the buyer can just contact Etsy and get a full refund on their order without even sending the item back. They are not required to, in the vast majority of cases, to send the item back. Etsy will, in again, most cases, just refund the buyer out of their own pocket and call it a day. It's part of the Etsy buyer protection program. Now, where things can start to lead astray is when the order is above $250. For orders above $250, or when you don't ship the order on time, then you void that Etsy buyer protection program. And if the buyer opens a case for, again, any reason, that money is going to come out of your payment account. So you will be on the hook for this buyer's case for, again, whatever reason, and that is going to come out of your pocket without the buyer having to send the item back. This is all something that Etsy just does unilaterally without any input from you for, again, like over 90% of the cases. This is just, again, something that you're going to have to consider, and if it's something that you want to contend with. If your product is not easily understandable in a picture, or basically if you can't understand exactly what the product is from a picture, you might want to reconsider selling on Etsy, because the buyers do not read titles, the buyers do not read descriptions, and the buyers do not even read the pictures. So if you put text on a picture, they cannot be asked to read it. They are basically just going off of the first picture and making their purchase decision based on that. Again, I take this from experience. I know, because I've been using the Etsy platform for 4 years now, how the buyers are. And again, I am stereotyping, standardizing, whatever, generalizing, whatever you want to call it. Some buyers are not like this, but the vast majority that are using the platform are going to fit this character model. And it's just unfortunate, to be honest. I wish it wasn't the case, but I think it's really more Amazon to blame for setting this kind of expectation in customers' head. But Etsy is just playing along with it and going with it to bring in the money, right? So all of these things to say, it's just something you want to make sure that you're aware of, that the buyers are running the show on this platform. And then on that note, lastly, is you don't own the platform, right? You don't control it. Etsy could shut down tomorrow and your business would be done. You would not have access to those buyers, and per Etsy terms of service, you're not supposed to have those emails for your customers for marketing. So you can't even market to your customers who gave you the money. You are not allowed to email market them if they bought from you on Etsy. So if Etsy, for any reason at all, just maybe suspended you, terminated you, whatever, went out of business, for any reason, anything other than you control, the platform can shut down and you're out of business, right? You lost access to those customers because you are selling all of your business, all of your wares on the platform that you did not control. So I know that this video has been basically anti-Etsy, but this is just my word as a seller, as someone who's been using the platform for 4 years. I have over like 7,600 sales on Etsy with a 4.7 rating currently. That's where we're sitting. Everything on Etsy is not all doom and gloom. It is very easy to use. You can easily upload listings to the platform. But that's like, it's easy to use. That's the thing. So if you can find a niche where you are one of like 2, you can really have great success on Etsy. That's what we have done before with 2 separate products in 2 completely separate niches. We were the first person on Etsy to both of these niches, and we found considerable, huge success. But if you are not one of the first 2 people in that niche, it's going to be really hard to separate yourself. It's going to be really hard to get to the top of the Etsy rankings. It's going to be really hard to just get people to buy your products. So all of these things are going to be things that you want to consider, things that you should take into account when thinking about if you want to go for Etsy as your main platform, or if you want to maybe take the approach of doing your own website, which is really what I would recommend. Doing your own website, sending the customers that you're getting on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, sending them directly to your website rather than trying to rely on Etsy to send people to your store. So that's the way I would recommend it. Take things into your own hands. That way you control it. You set your own destiny, and you're not reliant on anybody else for your downfall or for your success. It is all up to you on if you make it. And I really wish all of you guys the best. I hope that the tips in this video have been helpful and that you can put them into practice in your own business. If you guys are interested in more DTF tips, screen print tips, t-shirt business, running your own business, marketing your business, whatever it is, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below on the channel. Check out the backlog of content. And if you did enjoy the video, I would really appreciate if you liked the video. That helps the YouTube algorithm. And then comment any questions you guys have. The comment section is a great place to chat, learn more from each other. So if you have any questions, anything you'd like to learn more about, comment section is the place to do that. But until next time, guys, I'm going to leave you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.